Hi, this is the first video of Excel for beginners, and I'm just going to show you a couple of features of Excel that are useful for history, but just for everyday life. So this is Excel Open, and then you may have a different version and you may have OpenOffice. So these tabs over here allow us to do many of the things, and they are going to vary a bit according to the version that you have. But what I'm going to show you is basically universal. So Excel is sort of glorified calculator with a lot of possibilities that we can trick into doing what we want. One of the things that we can do is just calculate things and get them to do what we want and help us out. So we can put some numbers, and you can write also text. You see here that the columns and the rows are identified by letters and numbers, so we actually can refer to each of them. So let's just make an example. We're planning a trip to some place in Denmark, not very far away, because let's say that we're going to spend 500 krona on the train ticket, let's say, and we are hoping to go and see an exhibition that's going to cost us 150 krona, and then see that I can just click on the cell and then just write whatever. And then let's say that we're gonna stay one night and we have 500 krona for the accommodation. We're not gonna go to a fancy hotel, but something in the middle. And just let's add, I don't know, 200 krona for food, and obviously at least 300 krona for beer. So we have written something about it, and we can now use the functions of Excel to help us out. And we can just add things up and then see that if I just place myself here in this last, so I put the cursor here, you see something appears here, and I write an equal. And now I can enter what is called a function. See that also it appears up here, the equal. And I can just write, let's just something. So I can just select this one and see it says B7, and then I write plus, and then I select this next one, I press plus again. Okay, so now I just hit OK, but also it would work with enter, and then I have computed. This is the budget for my little trip to, I don't know, Aarhus or Odense, probably 1,650 krona. So it's quite convenient. We can just sum, but we can also multiply, divide. You have this, just write something equal, and then I could just make some operation. Let's say that I want to know what is 2 by 2 product by 2. So just, I would have 4. Well, let's see that I want to say, okay, let's divide 6 between 2, and I will get 3. So as I say, it's just essentially a calculator where things are sort of stable. If you click on the field, you'd see in the upper part here, you can interact with it, but you can also interact directly from here. So, okay, that's fine. We can sum, divide, and do all the things, but it's kind of boring. So what more can we do? So we can just say, okay, maybe this trip to Odense, it's not going to be only one day, but we're gonna be more days, so we need to account for more things. So we could think of just making it a little bit more complex. So I'm just gonna move this column and then just put it on this side, and then just it looks nicer. And then let's say, okay, so this is the price that each of the units has. And now I can say, okay, maybe I'm gonna need only to buy the train ticket once, even if I stay 2 days. And I'm gonna only see the exhibition once the other days. I will do something else. But actually, I'm gonna need 2 nights of accommodation, and I'm gonna need to eat twice, like 2 times 200, and then obviously I'm gonna have beer. So now I can say that this is number of days, and this is the price. So I can make a very simple computation and say 500, and I multiply, that's the star, and I say for this one. And then I get 500, that is quite straightforward. And I could do the same exactly for all the other fields. Let's see, I can do here. So I click on this cell, I multiply the number of days, and I get 600. But a very neat function that Excel has is that once you have defined, you have created a function, and this is a function, this is not anything fancy. I'm just saying multiply what is on the B7 by what is in C7. So a very neat function of Excel is that I can drag down this function and apply it all across B and all across C. So let's just have a look what it happens. So if I do that, just I get that, you know, it has repeated, so it's B, C, B, C, B, C, B, C. Okay, so I have just produced a new origin for the budget, and I could do just gain some, but we have a very nice function that actually just it went right out of the frame, but is this here called AutoSum. It is here, just so you can see it, and then this is what I use. So just click on this and see it has already tell me identified what I would be likely to want to sum, and then you just click OK, and then it has produced the new sum. I'm just going to move it back again. So now I have, you know, I can say this is the total, and this is quite fine. So my budget, if I go 2 days, it would be 2,650 krona. And this is a second super nice thing that Excel does. And the next thing that I want to show you is that, okay, we can do this dragging down. It is really quite convenient across columns, but also we can do it across rows. So if I have a function that uses, for instance, B and C, and I extend it to the right, it's going to move everything to the right. So the same thing, the same way that we move things downwards, it would just start taking things from the different from the previous columns. So in that sense, you just write one time a function, a product, a sum, or a division, and then you just repeat it. But another neat function is that sometimes you want to divide by something and you don't want it to be moved. So for instance, if we want to say, okay, well, we have now this trip, and then how much am I going to spend? What is going to be the percentage that I spend in the different items? So I could just compute a percentage. And for computing a percentage, you know that you just need to divide one of the items by the total. So let's think about the train, for instance. So we have the train, 500 krona, over, and I divide it by the total price, and then I make it multiply for 100. And then, you know, I see that there is 18% of my budget is going to spend just on the train. So if I now move this downwards, I get a very weird thing. Why? Because I've tried to replicate this operation, and I've moved the two values downwards. I've moved for exhibition, which is fine, but now I'm trying to divide by this white cell, and there's nothing. So what I need to do is just to tell Excel that I need to fix this, so that we always divide by this number. So the way to do that is just fixing. How do we fix things? We just write the $sign before it. So we can fix the column and we can fix the row. You see that this is D12. This is the one that I need to fix. I need that all the different things are actually divided by this one. So what I do here is just write a $sign before and before the D, so I know that it's always going to take the column D, and then I fix the $sign before the 12th, so it's always going to take this value, and then I do OK. So there's no change in this one, but look what happens in the second one. Now we're dividing D8 by D12. And then, of course, I'm dividing this cell by itself, so it's 100%. So these are the two most important things that we need to know about Excel. First, we put equal, then we can do any kind of operation, and then if we need to, we use the $sign to fix columns or fix rows. Just tinker with things, and then you'll realize how easy it is.